Hello YouTubers, Christian here, Ed, putting this video out because ever since the start of my channel around 3 months ago, I thought of doing something like this, didn't get the chance, been distracted with a bunch of stuff, but here it is now. This video is just being put out for fun, just like my whole channel. It's for entertainment purposes only, and I've seen many other folks on YouTube do similar things, which kind of got my idea of this going. And I just thought it would be a cool thing to do, essentially. And that is, I want to set a goal for myself, and it's not necessarily showing off or trying to. I felt honestly weird about it ever since the beginning, how I should do it, but I figured that part of my whole channel is being fed head ed, is to feed the head, provide information and just speak my mind, see what, talk about what I see and consider, and yeah, that's my whole goal. And yeah, along those lines, I just wanted to hopefully help, besides looking back later on, seeing how things progress for myself, but hoping that can have helped some other folks that are on the other end of this and, seeing through the video. But I just wanted to actually make a commitment to myself, my goal, which is I will make $1 million within 3 years. I will. And I've set this whole thing in motion already, even before the channel started. Not that much longer before, but I slowly started getting all the equipment for the camera gear and whatnot, and between work and other things, like I said at the start, I've been distracted. I really wish I would have been able to share some of my portfolio growth along the way, and I had started several accounts right basically when I went on unemployment and all the shutdown happened and things around here in the United States. So that's basically why this whole thing started. And prior to that, I've had business and other side hustles and things that I've done that I've been able to live off of and be comfortable with, so I've never really had any true issue, to really change too much, because I saw that slowly but surely I get what I want. But with this whole thing that happened, especially the health angle of it, going back to work after they canceled the unemployment and saying that you had no option, I went back. I had no choice, just like probably many of y'all out there seeing this had to. And I really do enjoy my job. Great people, great place, and those that know me personally know that I talk well about it. So it's just one of those things, and I'm grateful to them. They've always been great for me. And I've had many other jobs too along the way, although I've never had a full-time job. I've never needed one. And I know that some people do need them, and because of conditions, kids, whatnot, everybody's situation is different. That's understandable. And if you feel comfortable and they treat you right and everything goes on, that's totally fine. For me, at least, though, I always worked part-time because I always ended up making more on the side, and I realized that very early on, pretty much since high school days. So even though I studied law and political science, and I could have actually gone into law myself here in Wisconsin, just didn't think about doing it because it's so much work. I really did learn a lot of it mostly for myself and those around me, but just to protect myself, because yeah, that's a whole nother subject. Regardless of that, essentially, I started setting things off, and like I said, I put things off and I lived comfortably. Now, though, I changed. This whole pandemic situation that happened, it's out of control with, like, that I can't control, of course, but what I can control is the fact that I can actually change part of my life and hopefully make my life in the future and that of my family, like my parents and others, better. And that's my goal in the end. And that's why I want to make what I want to make. And initially, at the start, my parents even laughed at me. I told them, yeah, I'm going to make $100,000 this year. They just laughed. I told, cousins, other family and friends, whatnot. They're like, everybody had their own opinion. But for pretty much just to sum it up, everybody kind of just scoffed at it. I've had my goes with Bitcoin, and I've had my goes with other things, making profits in other ways. So my parents, they know that when I talk about making something and I set my mind to it, I've done it. So they of all should be the one that should have already expected this. But besides what happened, in the whole world itself, which was quite rough, and I've lost family, and I'm assuming lots of y'all lost family and friends, and folks, if not, maybe just got sick or whatnot, which has been really crummy, really bad. I don't want to say any other words, but it's just, it's tough. But at least economically, on that regards, usually in economic downturns are when you want to be investing. Whenever on those really big red days is when you start wanting to take positions, and at least that's what, if you see the consensus for many folks that do investing for long term, everybody's got their own situation, but at least for me, I know that that's been something that I consider, and I started putting in little by little. And when I felt that things kind of evened out, I started going in heavier, and slowly but surely made that promise. And like I said at the beginning, and when I ended up even giving my mom enough money to buy herself a new Honda CRV, that's pretty much when all the kind of joking and like the scoffing of what I was doing ended. And although I still do have 200 plus as profits for things this year, essentially, um, the, you know, of course everything's still on paper, but I'm more of a long-term person, and like I said, I want to build that to a mill. And the million is, it's always easier to make more later on, and that's my goal. But that's part of this journey, and I just wish I had the camera gear earlier and would have documented more along the way. But from here on out, it's what I'm gonna do. And like I said, my goal is really more to just essentially try to do some good with it. And I've had some really good ideas to also share with the world too in the future. I want to talk about those, specifically one, but that's for another video. And hopefully this is the stepping stones to get there. And part of this whole video, what I wanted to also just finalize it, essentially, is that I thought of doing it yesterday, but I didn't know how exactly to do this. I've been mulling it over my head for the last few weeks, and like I said, I didn't want to come off and just put on anything, because I put my money where my mouth is, and you'll eventually see this when I start sharing more. But I saw a Kevin O'Leary video today, and he was actually somebody that I was going to quote in my video, in fact, so I think it's a perfect thing to sum everything up. And that is, he worked in a mall, essentially, when he was younger, and got a job at an ice cream place, but one day his manager asked him to clean the floor from a bunch of, gum scrapings. And he said, I'm sorry, ma'am, I I don't want to do that. You hired me for the ice cream. I'm not supposed to be scraping stuff off the floor. She said, you do what I want because you're my employee. He said no. She fired him. But that's what changed his whole life. And his famous quote that he always talks about is essentially, there's those that own the store and those that scrape the stuff off the floor. And in my opinion, there's a third. There's those that want more. And I consider myself in that category, although I do understand where he's coming from. And essentially, there's different levels of what people might want, and you can use a job or a career to get to the point that you're self-sustainable and you can do what you want. And this is part of my whole stock market series and what I have planned in the future to do with this channel and build it. And part of the reason why it will have the title that it has is a channel building thing as well. But I also want to hopefully help others that might want to compare or see things along the way. And those that do want more, because I believe that you can still have a job, have some insurance paid through them, and have side hustles and do other things. And everybody, there's different sectors and different markets that people can get interested in, and that takes the majority of what their portfolio would be. But at least what I love about stocks is the fact that I make most of the money essentially just laying down in bed or on the couch. And I mean, is there any better than that? And I mean, again, everybody's risk tolerance is different, and this is what I'm doing, and I'm just putting it out as entertainment. But I'm going to be documenting what I do, and between looking for deals on houses and other types of items and things, some people's situations doesn't allow them to get those houses or certain, places or items, and everything's different. But the stock market, usually even internationally, you have a chance to invest. So this is just something for anybody out there. So it's just something that I'm putting out, again, like I said, for fun, for essentially, but it's good to compare, and hopefully y'all might take something from this. That's my goal. And future me, future anyone that follows me on this journey, again, best of luck, and hopefully things all did work out properly. And although I already did get a little bit of a head start going, considering things before me actually starting my channel, I will continue to grow it from there. Everybody's YouTube channel is different. So many great different views out there to see how to get, many different people doing similar things, and different roads to get there. But this is just one of those stepping stones to the path that I have planned for the future, and hopefully to change not just my life and my family's, but make a small positive mark in the world overall. And that's going to be my goal. And this is why I'm putting out this video here. And in the future, looking back on it, I hope everything goes good and continues to go good for everybody. And on that note, stay safe, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe, like if you enjoyed this and want to see more videos. And I appreciate your time. Best of luck with everything, and see you next time.